So welcome to another episode of Women Petpreneurs podcast with your host, Mary Oquendo. My guest today is Becky Meisner. How you doing, Becky?
Great, thank you.
So let's start off with, the usual. How'd you get involved in the pet industry?
I got involved by volunteering, actually. I kind of was in a place in my life where I really didn't know what I wanted to do. And the guy I was with kept suggesting that maybe I should get into grooming because anybody that would come over with their dog, I would throw in my tub because I couldn't stand the smell. But I thought it was actually kind of a stupid career. I didn't really look at it as a career. And then the job I was working at, I got laid off. So I decided hey, maybe he's on to something. So I started volunteering at the Vancouver SPCA. They had a grooming salon on their location. So I just started bathing and drying, and she was kind of showing me some of the ropes, and I really enjoyed it. So eventually I went on to grooming school.
Okay, so just to clarify, Vancouver, Canada, correct?
Yep. Yeah.
Okay. Because there's Vancouver, Oregon, there's
Right.
Vancouver, Washington, there's also Vancouver Island.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So, you're one of my few international interviews.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So moving along. So you started volunteering at a shelter. What
Yeah.
grooming school did you go to?
I went to Animal Haven.
Okay.
It was in Surrey, British Columbia.
Okay. What part of Canada are you from?
Well, currently I live in Ontario, but when I got into grooming, I lived in British Columbia, the
Okay.
outskirts of Vancouver.
Okay. So the other end of the country.
Yep. Yeah. Hey, you know.
Well, yeah, because I am now at the other end of this country too, as well. Uh,
Yeah.
Probably one of the best, and I was glad that I had did it before COVID hit, because then they shut down the ferry service. You couldn't.
Oh, yeah.
So the ferry to Vancouver is not Vancouver, Victoria Island is
Yeah.
Victoria.
Vancouver Island.
Okay, is like not quite down the street from me, but the next town over. And I was
Right.
glad I took that ferry ride over to the island because it's a lovely island.
It is. It's big too. A lot of people don't realize how big it is.
Oh, it's huge, and I
Yeah.
will say they had a Lush store there. They don't
Yeah.
have this area. If I want a local Lush store, I have to get out the passport and go to Canada. So anyway, so you went to grooming school, and what happened from there?
I got a job in the so the Vancouver SPCA had an actual working grooming salon. It wasn't just doing shelter dogs. So once I completed my course, they took me on as a groomer part-time. And then I worked a couple other shops part-time. And then eventually I did that for about a year, maybe a year and a half or so. And then I moved out to Ontario.
Okay. Um, I like Ontario. Um,
Yeah, it's cold though.
oh well, okay, yeah, there's
Yeah,
that. That would be
yeah,
one reason why I would like not relocate to Canada because you guys, well, except for the island over here,
yeah.
it's pretty cold come winter time.
It is. And one thing I found the difference in grooming from being in BC, because the climate is cool, is milder. Grooming in BC and Ontario, totally different. Totally different. Here we have like the summer cut, winter cut. In BC, it seemed to be um the same kind of haircut year round. People didn't You didn't have to have two sets of notes for clients.
Okay, which is part of the reason why I moved out this direction too, because I was in Connecticut, mobile groomer in Connecticut, and I'm here 4 years. I am still done with winter.
Yeah, no,
Don't show me snow. I
yeah,
when I see it. any suggestion to go on vacation that requires snow is like met with like
Yeah,
a,
no thanks. That
no,
is not a holiday.
no, no, thank you. I'm going to, in fact, I'm going to go someplace warmer. You know,
Yeah.
you know, my idea of a white Christmas involves the white sands of a beach.
Yeah, hey, I'll take that.
I will take that any day of the year. So now you're in Ontario.
Yeah.
All right. All right. So the times I was in Ontario, I was in Ontario a couple of times. Once when I was like a young 10, 11, 12. And then I was a counselor at one of the summer camps that sort of border Canada and New York.
Okay, yeah.
And we went over there. Um, the people, the language, French and English.
Oh, yeah. I
Yeah.
don't speak French, so
All right. So we had, I think, a little bit of an issue there because we did not speak French,
right.
you know?
If you go into Quebec, yeah, it's quite a challenge. If you don't know French, I think a lot of the area frowns upon it. There's certain areas of Quebec that are Montreal is much more accepting of English speaking, but they're they like the French.
Yeah, I have like, and I was fresh out of high school. No, in fact, I was still in high school at the time. So I was taking French in high
Oh,
school,
okay. Yeah.
but it's high school French and trying to put it to use. I was like not encouraged at all, you know?
Yeah.
I have like no phrases left in French. I can't tell you a single thing in French.
No, I can't either. I'd just make a fool of myself if I tried.
Yeah, I made pretty much a 17-year-old, 16-year-old fool of myself too.
Yeah.
All right. So, but uh, do you find that a hindrance in your business?
No, not at all.
Okay.
Where I am, Ontario isn't, here in the schools they teach a lot more French than they do in BC, but it's mostly English speaking.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was beautiful. It was absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, it's really pretty.
It is very pretty. We saw the cathedrals, and it is like, you know what, can't afford to go to Paris, Montreal.
It's the next best thing. Yeah.
It's the next
You
best
know
thing.
what? I went there for the first time maybe 6, 8 years ago. I was blown away. I actually was kind of embarrassed that I didn't know that part of my country, you know. It's pretty spectacular for our country, I think.
Yeah,
Quite
yeah.
different.
If you're thinking that you would like to go to Paris, France, and you're looking at the airfare and thinking, oh yeah, that's a little out of my budget, Montreal
Yeah,
is really, it's a good choice.
yeah, yeah.
I might
Great.
have to brush up on my French if I decide to do that again.
Just stick to Montreal, you'll be fine. Outside of Montreal, nope.
Okay, so you have your own grooming shop now?
Yeah, in June it'll be 19 years that I've had it.
Okay, that's nice.
Yeah. Yeah. It's it's been really good to me, but I'm sure there's lots of challenges with owning your own business. So,
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah.
So I did I read that you were working out of your house now?
Nope,
No.
nope. I haven't made that move yet.
Oh, okay. Somebody else just made a move to their house from a shop.
Okay.
Right. So anyway, so you have your shop. Do you have employees?
Yep, I have 3 currently.
All right. So what are the pros and cons of having employees?
Well, for me, the way I have it set up, the pro is that I don't work as many hours. I kind of have it, it's kind of a taboo term, but I have it production line. So basically, I do all the finish work. So I don't open the shop. I have good, reliable staff that can open the shop. And then they prep the dogs. I've got like the bather dryer, and then I'll have somebody set in the patterns, and then I just put the finishing touches on
Yeah,
it.
I don't have a problem with that. For me,
Yeah,
that's a good use of skill.
I think so too. I think I wish more groomers would do it, to be honest, because it kind of gives me more balance. So I don't have to rush to open up the shop. I just go in. I work 5 to 6 hours a day grooming, so I can give it more in that timeline, and I make good profit off of it that way too.
Say, and here's the way I'll see it. So it's making good use of the skill set that somebody has, and you are earning what you should be earning for your business.
Right.
Okay. For you to bathe, you pay your bather a lot less than what you're worth, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, right.
Yeah. So why would I want to pay if I'm bathing, I'm working for a bather's wage. It doesn't
Yes,
make sense.
it makes no sense at all. So
Yeah.
I think that's a really good way to run your business is utilizing the talent in the manner that it should be. Okay.
Right.
Um, for me, I have a virtual assistant who hosts my social media account, who schedules social media for me. Okay.
Right.
What I pay her is a fraction of what I'm worth.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you can try to do it all,
Yeah, you could.
but it takes away from a lot of things, right? So if you
Yes.
can sub it out and pay someone a fair enough wage, it makes good business sense, I think.
Yeah. So who I pay, basically it's a part-time in her spare time. So she makes a couple extra bucks while she's basically sitting around doing nothing and scrolling on Facebook anyway.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, sounds good to me.
Yeah, seriously. Okay. Sounds good to me. She's happy. I'm happy. You know, um, I will up her. I'm thinking I'm going to up her rate for next year because she's really good. And it's still, what I'm paying is way less than what my hourly rate is.
Right.
And I can either take that spare time now and do something that earns me more money, or you know what? I could read a book instead.
Yeah.
How about a little work life balance?
Yeah, exactly.
You know, I could play with my crystals. Okay.
There you
Ooh,
go.
there's a whole lot I could do that takes away a tedious task that I really don't want to do anyway.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
So
I enjoy not getting wet anymore. A lot of years of that. So,
yeah, you know what? That in the summertime, I think, well, being mobile, it was, you know what? I did all of that. Right. I mean, I could have hired somebody, but honestly, there wasn't the room in my van to have a second person in there. But I know a lot of mobile groomers, they'll do when they have multiple dog households, they'll bring a bather,
yeah.
you
Yeah,
know?
makes sense.
So it makes sense for them. They could actually finish up a whole lot quicker and basically having finished dry dogs on their table to do the finish work and then move on. But I was a single groomer, and you know what? That rash on your pants from getting wet in the summertime,
Yeah, it's not fun.
it's not fun. Yeah, I don't miss it. I don't miss it at all.
No.
Where do you see your business in, say, I don't know, 5, 10 years? Where would you like your business to be?
Oh, wow. That's a good question. I'd like to be more hands off. I think I'm coming to a point in my career that there's been a real shift since COVID. I find that the general public is a lot more difficult to deal with. The pets aren't as well trained. It's a different industry than it was, say, 5, 10 years ago. So I think I'd like to put more emphasis on other things grooming related. I'm not sure that, I mean, I love my business. I love everything that I've put into it. I love the opportunity for change and growth. And, I'm not the type of person that does everything. I'm not a super routine person. I am when it comes to the grooming aspect. I have a routine. I don't mess with that. But outside of that, I do like change. So I have thoughts, but I don't know if I'll be having a business or working in it so much. A grooming business, sorry.
Yeah, I call it an unroutine.
Yeah,
All right. So
that's a good term.
I have a very routine. So when I'm putting together the summits, there's a checklist, very much a routine on how it gets done. But
Yeah,
when I get it done,
that's a whole different story. Yeah,
that's a whole different story.
yeah,
My schedule is far more flexible. And if I want to work on summits later today, then that's what I'll do. And if I don't, I won't. I'll do something else.
right.
So
That's freedom.
that is really freedom. And I
Yeah.
think to be in a place where you can do that and to prep to be in a place to do that. So my decision had been when I first started grooming, my husband was not, he had kidney issues. He was in several car accidents. His knees were shot.
Oh
It
no.
literally was like just falling apart.
Right.
Realized really quickly into grooming. It's a physical job. Don't let
It is.
ever
Yeah.
say this. We're playing with puppies. And what's great today than it was 20 years ago when I was first starting is all the ergonomic equipment that is available today.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Oh my God. You know what? Take advantage of it.
Yeah. There's a lot more available now than there was years ago. And it can increase your profits. It can just take some wear and tear off your body. I mean, I remember when I first opened my shop, all my tables were just the fold up type.
Yep.
And I got my first hydraulic table maybe a year or so later, but oh my, like, and now obviously that's all I have, but it's stuff like that. You've got to put the money into it. It definitely speeds it up. And
Your
I
body
mean,
is so much grateful for it. So I had really good orthopedic mats all over the place in my van.
oh yeah,
I
yeah,
don't use them, right? So now here I am, retired 4 years. And I knew when I was doing, when the WPA is having us do the first aid classes at Super Zoo and Atlanta, that's standing for 3 straight days. So we
yeah,
insisted that they had to provide floor mats for us because our bodies, I mean, at the end of the day, we were like dying. I was coming home with backaches because I wasn't standing on orthopedic mats anymore. I'm telling
yeah,
you, there's a huge difference.
for
Okay.
sure. Yeah.
For using, you will feel the difference. You'll feel the bigger difference if you're using it and then you stop using it.
Oh
And
yeah,
all of that comes back to you.
yeah.
But it's also pricing yourself properly.
Yeah, I'm huge on that. I think you're on one of our Facebook groups and I preach it constantly so much I'm probably annoying, but um it's really something I'm passionate about
Yeah.
because I feel like us being female dominated industry,
Yep.
there's more emotion to our pricing and I see a lot of groomers that struggle, and I feel bad for them. It's something that you can change. It just takes some confidence and reassurance. But I mean, we've all been there. Probably every groomer has been caught in that trap that they underprice themselves, and
Yeah.
eventually, hopefully, the light bulb goes off.
Yeah. So for those who think you can't do it, so I went mobile in 2002. I
Okay.
went mobile. I literally doubled and tripled the price of grooming in the area. Do
Yeah.
you know who had a full schedule? Literally was I could have stopped taking new clients in after 6 months.
Right.
Okay. So if you don't think you can do that and have clients, you would be mistaken. Literally, I doubled and tripled the price of grooming in my area.
Right. And a lot of it was probably the same clients.
It was the same clients.
Yeah. I
I
mean,
had so many people follow me. And I started off by doubling the shop prices. Okay. And I did that because I work corporate, and corporate always has those stupid, add-on packages.
right.
So I was the queen of add-ons. I was doubling So
Trying to boost those numbers. Yeah.
here's how that worked, that one, right? So with a Yorkie at the time was like $33. Okay,
Okay.
for a haircut. Okay.
Yeah.
You add in a couple of packages, and now that $35 Yorkie was now $50.
Right.
Okay. All right. And then I'm saying, hey, I'm going mobile, so now I'm coming to your house. But he's going up to 65. And they're like, okay, for $15 extra, I'm now coming to their house and they don't have to go back and forth. All
Right.
right. So then we're starting off now that $35 Yorkie is now $65 to start. Made things a whole lot easier. Okay.
Yeah.
So, you know, raise your prices. Don't worry what other people are charging. Okay. My goal was always to be the highest priced one in the area. If I found out another mobile groomer was matching my pricing, I went up $5.
Yeah. Why not?
Why
If
not?
they're going to pay it, I mean, why not? I mean,
Why not?
it's a business. It's not a charity, right?
No, it's a business, all right. And I know women have a lot of issue with this. Men, not so much. I know a lot of mobile groomers where it's husband and wife team.
And I
Okay.
bet you their prices are good because they have that influence.
Well, it's not only that too. It's the husband that says, "Hey, prices are going up to this," and it's not questioned.
Right.
Why do
Yeah.
they question women with pricing, yet they don't question men
Yeah, because women are softer,
or perceive
right?
them?
Yeah.
You
And
know,
a lot of times they are in our industry. I think that we put too much emphasis on the type of care that a pet's going to get based on their price, right? We feel like if we're taking on the responsibility to go without so that their pets don't,
yeah.
right? And that's often not the case. Like some of the groomers that I know that are really low priced, I'm like, so how are your dogs coming in every 6 weeks? Well, no. Well, you've defeated the purpose, right? You tried to make it affordable so they come in more often,
Right, and they're not.
and they're not. So you didn't, all you've gained is less money in your pocket.
And working harder for it,
Right.
attracting the wrong type of person.
Yeah.
All right. You're attracting the person who is, I can remember being fired over 50 cents
Oh
because
God.
another groomer was 50 cents cheaper.
Wow.
That's
But you were
not,
probably really low at that time, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
That was in a shop. And I quickly learned that the more I charged, okay, the more that they perceived the value of what they were getting, that what they were getting was not what somebody else
Yeah.
was getting. So somebody
Yeah.
coming in with that $35 Yorkie, okay, or $33 Yorkie, okay, was, and then the person who was paying me now $50, same shop, all right, because they were getting an extra service. There was more value perceived with that.
Right.
Um, those were my, and they also tended to tip better, all right, because
I'm
they
sure.
they perceived the value to be greater.
Well, and I think too, if you're attracting people based on your cheapest price, the being the cheapest, they're literally there for the cost.
Yeah,
So then if that means if they're there for cheap, they leave for cheap too, right? If there's constantly more and more groomers opening up. That's what I find in my area anyways. And they're often not well trained. It's a quick side hustle for them, is what
right.
they think. So they get into it, they want to be affordable, they're cheap. And so if you're attracting cheap people, there's always going to be a cheaper person. So of course they're going to jump ship, right?
And it's they don't value the service that you're providing. They don't care.
But
I
don't you think groomers don't value the service? Isn't that maybe our biggest problem
Yeah,
is
because
that
then we're not valuing ourselves as well.
right.
Okay. Again, coming into the industry for me, I came in, I was 38 years old when I started in the pet industry. I was a stay-at-home mom, and I was fed up with the people in my household, okay?
Yeah.
Not valuing me, okay? So that when I went to work, I wasn't taking any crap from people. All right.
Right.
Wasn't taking any crap from clients, wasn't taking any crap from store management. And you know what? Because of that attitude, the other groomers there who were taking crap were getting crap. The same client, the same exact person would not give me a hard time, would give another groomer a hard
Yeah,
time. Okay.
for sure. Yeah,
So I think part of it is valuing what it is that we do and the service that we offer. That's a mindset.
it is a mindset for sure. Because I feel like we're very competitive, so I know some great groomers in maybe a certain area, and they're not pricing that high for whatever reason. Maybe they're older, they don't need to charge as much. And then there'll be another salon owner in the same city, and they're like, well, I can't charge as much as so and so because I don't do as nice of a job, right?
Yeah,
I mean, it's unfortunate the more skilled groomer isn't charging enough or a higher rate, but we get too caught up on who does the best poodle trim or scissor finish or whatever. And we are so much more than just a
exactly.
haircut, right? Like,
I had a client that came in, and this is one of my favorite quotes from any of my clients. And I understand her dog Boober was a Shih Tzu, and I turned this pug into I turned the Shih Tzu into a pug with very
right.
short ears. That is what she wanted, and a short tail. And she
Yeah.
goes to me one day, Mayor, I find better grooms. I would never take my dog anyplace else. And I'm like, I know there's a compliment in there. Let's dig around for it.
Yeah.
Okay. But she felt she was paying for all the add-on packages. Okay. And when she first moved to the area, her and her husband come into the grooming shop, and I'm really busy. And they go to me, hey, we just moved to the area. We're just sort of like finding a groomer for our dog. What makes you special? And I'm busy, and I'm really busy. And I go to her, I have 4 of my own dogs I personally groom, okay, who
Right.
love me. And they looked at me and they go, we would like to make an appointment. So nothing about my actual grooming skills, and to understand my dogs were all short-coated dogs except for my Shepherd Malamute mix.
Right.
Okay. I have actually never owned, oh God, I'm going to knock on wood right now because we do not want this to change. Okay. I have not ever owned a dog that required any kind of scissor work. The
Okay.
closest I have come to that was neatening up the feet of my golden retriever. He was a field golden. He didn't have a whole lot
Right.
of hair.
Well,
There
you
was
even
no,
got a golden with not much coat.
no, there was hardly, and maybe when I was in a mood, I trim up his hocks. But
Right.
yeah, there's been
A
no,
wash and wear dog.
all my dogs, even my Shepherd Malamute, all wash and wear dogs. So yeah, way I like them. But anyway,
I don't blame you.
I don't blame you. I guess my worst fear is my husband going out one day and he says, "Hey, I just found this little toy poodle on the side of the road."
And you're
So
like, all right, bring it
and I'm
home.
thinking, yeah, that doesn't go to the shelter. Yeah, so sorry, that is not coming into my household.
I am not doing poodle feet for free.
Okay, yeah, no, I don't do. I'm not doing poodle feet for
for,
anybody,
for anything.
for anything. Even when I was grooming, I stopped doing that about halfway
Oh
in.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, no poodle feet here. And that was 2 miniature poodles that would tug for each of the,
Oh, that's not worth it. No.
and then go limp for the rest of the groom. Oh yeah, they were two miserable dogs. Oh God, I hated doing those two dogs. I kept raising her price. She kept paying it,
See,
until I
they
got to
don't
the
care.
point they don't care. And then you know what? And then I just finally cried uncle. And then after I cried uncle with those two poodles, I said, you know what? I'm not doing poodle feed anymore. And I did not lose a single client over it because it
There
wasn't
you go.
important to them. They had different, when you're priced properly and they value you as a groomer,
Yeah,
they want you to groom their dogs until you die, or till that dog passes. And when
right.
I explained I could no longer do poodle feet because of my wrist, they were like, okay.
Yeah, that's they value you, right?
So what would you like to see happen in the industry as a whole?
Oh boy. Uh, I would like to see some sort of standardization. I don't know. I've always been on the fence about regulation because I think there's pros and cons to it. But I wish as a industry we could unite and come up with something. I don't know what the answer is, but I feel like our industry's kind of taking a tank.
Well, no, and I agree with you. I'm not quite
Yeah.
certain what the answer is too, but I think if we don't do something, it's going to be done for us, and then we have no say in it.
That's my fear, yeah. I just, I see a lot of really talented or really good groomers um, leaving. I think they're tired.
Yeah,
And, that's probably because of the COVID stuff, right? The people change, the dog
yeah.
changes, and it's starting to really become taxing on our bodies and our minds. So, and then what I see being re replacing those people is terrifying. It's and something bad is going to happen.
Well, we've already seen several bad things happen here,
Yeah, yeah.
and there was
But
just
it depends on how, that gets into the right hands and it will blow up and it's going to cause, well, like you said, it does happen, but if it's going to keep happening, it's going to become very repetitive and then what? Like that's my fear.
well, and I think also part of it is that we're not policing our own. Okay, so
Yeah,
we know the shop down the street is beating dogs. We know it. We know it
right.
for a fact. Okay. But yet we don't do anything about it.
Well, that's what I mean about the regulation. Like, how would regulation help? There's lots of situations, like you said, the dogs being beat. You can call a humane society on that, but you choose not to.
Yeah.
There's the unzoned grooming shops. You you know that they're not supposed to be there, but you don't do anything. So how would regulation change that?
Well, you know what? I'm not, but I think with regulation, if it's done with groomers input, there would be a way to make a complaint and have it looked at, to have it sincerely looked at it. You
Right.
know, the dog Atlas, the one that was literally beat to death. I think it was in Oklahoma. There's
Saw that, yeah.
there was video. This woman had video there.
Right.
Regulation could have said, "Hey, we want your video. Let us see for ourselves."
But then did, didn't the police have copy of that?
Yeah, after the fact.
Right.
After the fact.
So you're more your thought is more if there was somewhere to go prior to it getting to that being that bad.
And being an avenue before it gets to that point, because then what happens is that all the I see it in my own community group here. Oh my God, don't take your dog to a groomer. They beat them there. Yeah,
Right.
no. 99% of groomers don't do that.
No.
But now that 1% of that do it, that has then, taken our, has tarnished the industry. And then the good groomers have to battle that. Why do you have to battle that?
Well, that's the thing. It's frustrating. Every time I see this stuff blow up, even that Atlas dog, I'm like, oh, don't share it. I feel like sometimes people share it because they want to be associated with not being the type of person to do that. But then I see it being surfaced and I'm like, you're raising awareness about this. And
No,
it's
but
such a small percentage that it kind of affects us all.
yeah, I think the awareness on the public of it is that this happens. So I
Right.
think that groomers standing up and saying, "Hey, no, this is not normal. This is
No,
not normal. This is outside. We would never tolerate this. Not like I said, 99% of grooming shops, 99% of all groomers, we are not like this. We get into this industry because we love pets. We love work.
right.
You know,
Yeah.
it's the same thing that some cop comes and shoots and beats up some person, and now all cops are bad. No,
Right.
cop is bad.
Yeah.
And the same thing with doctors. You know, that doctor was, oh, what was the latest? Oh, okay, yeah. The dentist who was like sexually assaulting women while under sedation for dental procedures. Yeah, not all
Yeah.
dentists do that. That dentist did it. So bringing awareness and and prosecuting and saying, hey, that's not normal. That person absolutely should be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. They should lose their license. That cop that did that should go to jail. The groomer that did that should go to jail.
Right. Yeah, it's just sometimes you'll read in the comments, people will say, "Oh, this is why I never take my dogs anywhere." I think because a majority of us don't have the owners there, it kind of opens itself to accusation, right? So then you can't stay with your dog, and then you read something like that. That must be quite traumatic as a pet owner to read something like that. And
Yeah,
then I see comment after comment. This is why I won't take my baby nowhere. So it kind of, for some people, it does reflect on us all poorly.
yeah, it does. But even still, I think that is still a small segment of the population. When you run the numbers on the amount of pets in any given town, there is no way all the groomers in that town can groom all of those pets anyway.
Right. Yeah.
Right? Other than that, I don't have an answer. You know what? Um,
Yeah. It's such the whole regulation stuff, it's very debatable, but I do wish to see us grow. I feel like there's so much room for advancement for us. And I mean, we've come a long way in the 20 some odd years I've been in it. I've seen a lot of change, but there's so much more. I just wish we could have it all now.
all right. So does Ontario, do they have a grooming association?
We do, yeah.
Are you involved with it?
I used to be on the board. I used to be on the board. I used to was a president for several years. I was pretty active in it. And then we have our own, it's kind of like IPG, but it's Canada's version. Although a lot of groomers have IPG as well.
So
But
what's your version of IPG?
it's called Canadian Professional Pet Stylist.
Oh,
Yeah.
I've not
So
heard of that
basically
before.
it's a bunch of old IPG certifiers that created it.
Okay. I,
Yeah.
I thought, is there like a website for if people who
Yeah.
are this from Canada can
Yeah. I
inquire
think
about
it's
that?
Canada Pro Pet Stylist. I'm pretty sure that's what it is.
Okay. Interesting. Interesting.
Yeah. So
So,
it's basically the same. It's very similar. The
okay.
whole written practical.
All right. And I'm, as you know, a huge believer in continuing education.
Uh,
Um, and so do you have any words of wisdom before we finish up?
well, I just continue growing. I mean, it's for me, that's been the biggest why I think I've been here so long is just continued. I've gone to the seminars, I've done the workshops, I've helped put them on. It's really what will keep you going. And
So,
just find good people that you can connect with and mentors. There's lots of groomers out there that want to help take you under their wing
and
and just connect yourself with them.
and before you go, there is a grooming show in Ontario, is there not?
Yeah. There's a few of them. Yeah, there's a new one that just started in October, and it's Ottawa Grooming Show. There's one in
Don't have
Toronto
the
in
information on that one. So do me a favor when this is over, shoot me over that information so I could put it on. I do have a
yeah,
calendar on my website, and I'm including as many international. So it's not just the United States.
right.
As many Canadian and other international shows that are out there. I would like to include that. So do me a favor, if you drop me that information so I can get it up on the calendar.
Okay, yeah. So there's the one in Ottawa in October. There's one in May in Toronto, and there's one in British Columbia. I think it's in June this year.
I have those two already on
You
my.
have those too, yeah. And then I was doing my own event in November, but I put it on hold
Okay.
just to kind of reinvent the wheel.
Okay. And
Yeah,
so, anyone who's listening who has an international show, so it has to be a show, okay? Either a show or something that's associated with an association that'll go up on the calendar. So, um, Becky, thank you for taking time out of your day to
yeah,
be here.
no problem. Thank you.
All righty. So join us, and everybody join us next week when I interview another woman in the industry making a difference.
Thanks so much, Mary.